Just did a quick update on my Unreal project. That's still going to be getting progress. Just maybe slowed down a little bit to cope with, you know, the addiction here and my desire to power level to max, kind of overriding my desire to program at the moment. But I do have some ideas that I think that I outlined in the most recent video, and I think that they're going to be really good ideas that will be a large benefit to the project. I think we can make it much faster in its proc gen, hopefully fast enough to where we can enable like quick fly through of the universe, which will be useful for like warping and such. But yeah, for the moment, I'm going to be playing quite a bit of WoW. And that's just the way it's gonna be for a bit. Okay, I guess I can't get that yet. I'll go over here and do some stuff. Should be able to get 75 here pretty soon. Oh, I did kind of catch myself up on work some today as well, which is nice because now I can goof off again. Thraku Berserker Hut Fire Doused. Hut Fire Doused. Oh, I remember this shit. I don't like having to do this manually. This oh, you have to, okay. Derp, I got it. Okay, excellent. Splish, splash, splish. Oh, Jesus. Inventory is full, the most dreaded message. Do that. This. Okay. Okay. 2 more calls. Do. Come on. I gotta sell. Got to sell. What do we sell? Toss this, grab this. Free 1 more rage claw. Go back to the town and turn these quests in and sell. Alright. Perfect. Well, this is where amphitheater is, huh? So I can get my, at 75, I can get my fucking weapon, which is soon. That is interesting. String stem, R-pen. Sure. Oh, come on, man. This is actually good because it means we can get dual spec. Got officially passed the threshold that I needed to. 1 gold to do that. 27, 63, 42, 60. Yeah, this is not as good. Don't need shields. Strength stam, Arpin. I just have like the better version of it. And Frozen Mojo is fine. Hit attack power. ACP. Don't need shields. Plate 60. I think I'll just keep what I got. So these 2. Sell. Keep. Sell. Stand crit, spell power, sell. Hit, crit, stam. No, we're not trading out strength pieces for non-strength pieces. Alright, there we go. So swamp moss, salted venison. Okay, plenty of room. Okay. Trolls is going crazy. Okay. Forward camp. Why is that good? Isn't that just terrible? Okay. Let's actually go ahead and do this. It's time to buy dual spec. Set up our unholy spec. Maybe we'll play as unholy some. Alright. One, two, three, four, five. Fuck. Alright, that's fine. Definitely want 5 here. Definitely want that. Definitely want that. Let's see how close I got. 3, 2. Guess that does make sense. Alright. He doesn't take any necrosis? That seems wrong to me. You're taking... guy's 54. 54, 17. 17 enough? So right now I have 52. I have 2 more talents I can put in here. Stun reduction. We'll play like this for a bit, and then I'm gonna actually womp womp. Yep. Accept. Alright. Unholy. Let's try this again. This one's easy. This one's not. We definitely want 3 here. Definitely want 3 here. I feel like 20% more auto attack damage is really good. 5. Oh, he doesn't take Blood Cake Blade. I disagree. Dirge, Impurity. No Ghoul Frenzy either. Kind of surprised by that as well. It seemed pretty good, but fuck. Alright. Let's get it right this time. 1, 2, 3. We'll take... Alright, now I have 1, 2, 3. Glyphs. Beak of the Ghoul. Alright, I need to go to the main city to buy some glyphs. So we'll head on down to Ironforge and I'll check on my work. Dark Death, Icy Touch, Ghoul is what I think. Death's Embrace, Raise Dead, Blood Tap. Blood Tap's... no, that's wrong. Blood Tap does like 100 damage. It's literally inconsequential. It's not a terrible idea. Right, like that. This becomes Pestilence. This becomes Blood Strike. Get rid of that. Yeah, see, this looks more like what I would have expected. So he ran 2-2. Okay, it's there. 50, only 53, which is actually nice. This, if I run the Glyph of Pestilence, maybe I could skip Epidemic entirely. No Blood Cake Blade though. It's not good, I guess. I like this talent tree a lot better. Two for 5. How much is Mind Freeze? 10? Okay, sure. So I like this one better. I would go no Epidemic, Vicious Strikes, Virulence, Morbidity, Unholy Command, Ravenous Dead. You don't take Blood Cake Blade. You conceivably drop Ghoul Frenzy and No reaping. No reaping. Dark Death. I need 2 of these. Gray's dead. I need 1 of these. Ghoul. Ghoul. 1 of these. Dark Death. Oh, Death's Embrace. Death's Embrace. 2 of these. Pestilence. 1 of these, and I'm gonna take this, Icy Touch. Yeah. Booyah. Alright. That's how we're gonna roll for now. I want the Dark Death glyph in place. The Death's Embrace, that's right. Cool Dark Death, Icy Touch. So all the runes we needed for this, we can go ahead and portal and retrain real quick. It's been just a little bit more gold, but I think I'm gonna get it right this time. And it's really hard to min-max this stuff based on your gut feeling. Okay, you. I see training. God damn it, you stupid bitch. Training. Alright, last time I do that. Alright, here we go. These are no-brainers. No-brainer. No pale horse, that's fine. On here. 4. Everyone knows it's Butters. This is not bad, actually. Gender pet bar. Okay, and then I think we're good now. Spellbook. I'll put Witchborn here. Something like that. Or we could do like here, here. This here for the moment. It's not perfect. I'll be doing like a whole thing to bind all this stuff up properly. Just want to get it good enough to start working on it. Alright, let's see how this stacks up to blood. I kind of feel like there's an auto attack build in here somewhere, like Icy Talons plus Necrosis plus Bloodcake Blade plus Bladed Armor, Veteran of Third War. I think Icy Touch is actually probably better than Dark Death, although with this plus this, we're doing 30% more damage with Death Coil, which is kind of big. You conceivably drop Endless Winter for something. I'm a little concerned that no Reaping, because that's how you line up your triple Scourge Strike burst. %84% of weapon damage plus 658 plus 36% of shadow. I mean, that's pretty good, I guess. It's pretty good, I guess. Not sure how important Desecration is actually, with Icy Chains being so fucking OP. Might be better to have Reaping than Desecration. Do 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 do.
Yeah, my bad self up in your face. You're looking everywhere but here. Think you mad or something? White supremacist?
Let's get drunk.
And a Ross fan.
Well, we got ourselves a real Watson and Crick here.
His heel in the poor Indian's face. Thank God my sainted ancestors have gone off to the happy hunting grounds. Ain't around to see this. This racism.
You're not an Indian.
Come on, all Indians talk like Huggy Bear.
Either I'm an Indian or I'm a sissy. And well, since I must be an Indian.
Or possibly Bruno Mars.
Yo, love, I'm proof to you I'm Indian. Instant Indian war. My people, the red hand and Apache, we had a custom. It's called blood.
It was a fancy name for selling duty-free cigarettes.
Every word that he really respects. He lets him choose the way he wants to be executed.
Oh, gross. Quit it. Go somewhere else.
3 phrases frequently said to Carrot Top.
Stuff. You see, if that warrior wants to prove how brand he really are.
Shoe Boogie? Is he a long-lost Cosby kid?
Gross me out, but what is it?
Everyone knows it's Poppers. You could have been named Butters. It would fit you. It would fit you.
4 different horses. They slap the horses on the line and they run.
Okay, let's see how Unholy does.
He left behind a grieving family. Really sad.
Seems like a rough average of 1335.
Once you go red, you never
always trying that line on the Moscow ladies.
The Marvel origin of Chief Broom.
Less successful Simon and Garfunkel album. Ah, sure is great having identical hair.
I wish Scorch Strike was just unholy. That would be nice.
Great, I can tack a few more oven mitts to the wall.
Oh, I forgot I used all the charcoal last week.
Ah, fuck.
Stupid attempt to build my own Brita filter.
I'd hate to go back out.
Lady, you got some bargaining position.
Or we could just not eat since we just ate.
Reckon you got a bargain?
Partners
Bacon.
with inexplicable accents.
True.
Never a black eye around when you got a steak.
Be right.
So, who are the other 6 people we're also feeding with those steaks?
They just wanted good steaks and on the set. So they bought some big ass steaks. That's what I think.
Where's it coming from?
Oh my god. Gas used to cost 69 cents?
D&J,
I don't know. I think it's not as much damage right now. Doesn't feel like it.
We're here to steal the supplies.
Not the supplies. Good thing I always sit in my car for 10 minutes after I park.
It's definitely not as much damage
Better
as
go
blood
meet
was.
Bill Walton, guys.
Kind of a bummer.
I need a gallon of gas and 2 tacos, but I only have $2. Where will I ever?
I really should have been wearing these already. Might not hit that stroller.
Change $1.
Get out of my face, asshole. Still beats going to Bank of America.
I'm gonna walk back over to my car. I'm gonna call your license when it comes. But if you give me change for $1, that's gonna give you about 30 extra seconds before I call you in. Prende Grove.
In quarters, if at all possible. Daddy's got some laundry to do this weekend.
Boy, I sure did intimidate that guy sitting in his car. I have no reason to be suspicious.
I hear there's a great Lockhorns today where Leroy forgets their safe word. No, he's going to kill Print.
Okay, so far the evidence he has that a crime is being committed is...
His girlfriend sent him out to buy charcoal.
Ah, well, assault away then.
Or his armed robbery Hawaiian shirt.
What'd you do? Easy, easy. Okay, white boy.
Terrified hostage or woman not sure where she set her reading glasses?
It's bladder. Look around. What are you gonna do? Don't stop me. All you got is a newspaper. I got more than the newspaper. And you get to guess what it is.
Penguin. A go-kart. Oh, this game sucks! Whoa, no wonder she didn't look worried.
Forget the rotor. Can we watch a movie about her?
He was actually going to rob the hell out of this store before he dragged her out of there.
I'm fine. Absolutely.
You ate them both? Raw?
In a few minutes. Sure. See ya.
You know, that conversation with Howdling was a lot more tender than the first one.
It's going to all the right places? I'll sign it for you. Standard crime scene Mad Lib.
Trouble. When's you going home? Thanks a lot, Monkey.
Bill Buckner was always saying the same thing.
It's been a long day. Justin doesn't want to see Dan.
His mood, shortly after gunning a man down, he's kind of tired.
So don't use that next time. Maybe these bullets don't like picking up bodies.
I don't like it even more. Thanks again.
Super Scooper is my favorite album song. Yeah. But you know you're doing the right thing. You ain't no street cop, are you?
He was calmer than Dirty Harry just then.
Laboratory to stay there.
You're right.
Let us boys have
All right, let's see.
test tube.
Leave the real gritty word to us cops that resemble Urkel.
Sure.
No, I still can't determine the point of all the Beach Boys jokes.
The battery pack is it's an operative.
Yeah, no, all the batteries and the storage generators and the energy traps, man, they're empty. They're all dry.
I should have been a video robot like my brother Rob.
You don't think?
No, I don't want to think.
Oh, you'll never pass the Turing test with that attitude.
How you doing, bro? Looks okay to me.
Come on, we got lots of work to do.
One of these days I'm gonna quit this job.
Finally, we get to the robot. Well, the other robot, not the one who's already.
Okay, so necrosis is bad because your auto attacks hit like shit. That simplifies the build quite a bit
All rotors come
and explains why the other build wasn't using it. So we drop necrosis.
This is also how the girls can small wonder.
That lets us get pretty much whatever else we would have wanted.
Rotor immediately consults his instruction manual to find out how to turn off those annoying crosshairs. Sentient for 15 seconds, but already has a powerful urge to gold bond his sack.
Okay, Rotor wasn't supposed to be done for 4 years, but they assigned him a locker and put a uniform in it anyway.
His police headquarters is located on top of a car dealership.
Excuse me. Get you the sign for the policeman's phone?
The theme is the machine.
Out of my way. I gotta go not being Cyborg Cop 2.
What's the matter with you, buddy? Get your pecking caught in the plumbing this morning? Ought to jack you up. Spitting honest academy snot. God save us all.
The Rotor's dialogue has got to be more realistic than any human in this movie. Wreaking untold havoc and destruction. Rotor!
Cheers. Guys, you know what would be great? If this movie had a drum machine.
The great strength to open double doors could only be possessed by a robotic officer tactical operation research. Well, that was already the state motto of Texas.
Ooh, reaching Lorenzo Lamas' body double levels of badassery.
Gassing up Rotor's bike 4 years in advance. Now that is just good foresight. The police department may have overbought on parking garage space.
Okay, clearly this is where the research component of Rotor's acronym is on full display.
Gotta be really embarrassing when Rotor doesn't have the 75 cents he needs to pay the parking attendant.
Willard, what do you think drained all the energy packs down at the ball?
You know what I thought, but nothing was out of place.
Definitely wasn't the sex bot I was building down there.
Might as well shut everything down and pull the plug in the ball. You wouldn't want some sort of accident.
Yeah, I got the feeling this is how Terminator got started.
Yes, the most iconic Terminator scene was the dimly lit shot of the storage closet full of remainder computers. The greasiest mechanic in the world looked at these computers and thought, too ancient for my garage.
Wait, I saw that happen 5 minutes ago.
Guys, only 5 hours and 4 minutes till Rebecca Black wakes up.
I'm going to work after the honeymoon.
What do you mean? And who are we?
Go to what work? All you've ever done is go to school. There aren't many jobs where you can go to class, take tests, and go to frat parties.
His commencement speech was poorly received.
Of course not. It's just embarrassing for a guy to have his wife work.
Wow, that robot was totally right about this being like Terminator.
Thank you. Better not.
Come for the killer robot, stay for the bickering.
You know what it is? It's the wedding.
Tommy Wiseau was more graceful in introducing new characters.
I want a wedding. Because you've already gone through.
Where? It said I found him.
Ritual. And sacrificial virgin.
What?
It's heathen.
But circling back to my forbidding you to work,
It took 3 weeks to get this shower together. And look at you. You look like you got both eyes coming out of the same hole.
does that mean she's tired? Which hole?
Going to work after.
Hopefully by then her eyes are coming out of different holes.
Okay, I'll make you a deal, okay?
I'll start and finish all my sentences with okay if you don't get a job.
Walk with me tonight.
We can get hitched right after 4th meal.
I'll help you get a job after the honeymoon.
Sounds like an increasingly desperate LinkedIn email.
True.
Who I am, I'm starving.
You able to shower?
That was 5 hours ago.
I need energy for whining.
Do you want to go to the IHOP?
Golden Corral's new slogan.
I gotta check the granny anyway. 5 pounds, honey. 5.
They just love to drive around all night hating each other.
Rodor, relentless in his pursuit of research.
60K.
Hurry, slow down.
Might be level.
Slowing down
Depends
is
on.
barbaric.
It's gonna be close.
That's it, my punch. You stop this car right now and look out.
Fine, I'm going to IHOP and ordering the Rudy Tooty Fresh and Beauty.
You want out? There's out. Out of the car, out of the relationship. As far out as you want to go.
And so she took him at his word and traveled out beyond time and space to the very edge of infinity. Not a robot cop, just a guy heading to the Cher concert.
Ooh, that's
Okay,
fun.
it's a police officer.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Hey, your boyfriend said it was okay.
I was just telling my girlfriend here, you guys are really cleaning up the undesirables in this neighborhood.
You have exceeded all douchebag protocols.
You guys are tough. In fact, we're willing to bet you $20. That's what you're gonna give me.
Bribe is too cheap. Sentence, death.
Cop a quick feel before I die.
Them, they ordered the yacht horn option. Thank you. And now back to killing you. God, what kind of idiot invented me?
I have the same reaction whenever I hear dead mouths.
Sorry, my fault. I have trouble meeting women. Okay, play it cool. Sure, I just got beat by a lady who honked her horn and backed over me, but I'm bigger than this.
Really not much of a Terminator. Looks more like John Hodgman with a leather fetish.
Look, the movie itself is too lazy to call his bike a rotor cycle. I'm sure as hell not gonna.
You just did.
After all that, her hair still looks great.
burned. VER infirmed. Definitely trying to kill me. Definitely. Of course, it's 10 minutes to WOTLK. We're definitely going to be late to WOTLK.
There's gotta be a mistake. This can't be right. I gotta talk. I gotta talk this thing over.
All right, me. Where's the fire? Okay, it's bound to go better this time.
Boy, if she knew how to bend down, she'd be dead.
This is embarrassing. Run over me once, shame on you. Drag me down the highway, shame on me. I better go back and talk this out.
Sounds like a Star Trek episode has started.
Captain Florida died and shot in the head. This is the work of a helicopter blade.
Wish she hadn't fallen asleep before pleasure would be.
Captain Coldine, by Beaver.
That's his pet name for the desk, sorry.
Detective Sergeant John Mango. Sir, we got a hold of that.
Can you call back? I'm having a blinking fit.
Ran the name to the computer, and it came up. Tactical Operations Lab. Captain J.B. Colbert.
Some bastard stole my name.
Give us some information, sir.
Sergeant Mango, sit on this. Take no action. Affirmative.
That's affirmative.
There's a maniac on the loose. Stopping him would just play into his scheme. Great date, eat 10 pounds of steak, and fall asleep on a vinyl love seat.
Yes, wash your hair. It smells like beef.
Ah, Leatherface, Texaco. She'll be safe there. Closed? Oh no, I wanted to make a new fiancé out of beef jerky and gum.
Open up in the name of giant shoulder pads.
And I'm lost. Paw the phone a little first.
You gotta help me, I'm Mitch.
She was about to say Chinese.
Sheriff on Highway Patrol.
The hook is stuck down on the phone. She's not talking to anyone.
Tony. Sonia R. Garrett. Look, you gotta help me. There's been a murder. A motorcycle patrolman is trying to kill me.
Plus, my boyfriend's dead, and he needs to lose 10 pounds.
Good scene, thank you.
Ma'am, are you okay? Where are you?
Who is this?
Deputy Walter Dean, Miss Garrett. Can you identify the motorcycle patrolman?
Well, he looks like one of the village people.
Yes, look, he's a crazy cop. He killed my fiance, and he's gonna kill me next if you don't get down here and help me. For God's sake, would you help me?
Okay, ma'am, I'm gonna transfer you to customer service.
An old gas station on I-20 West. Their exit 643, but I can't stay here.
They're closed, and I need malt liquor.
Allowed to move, but I can't get word to the Dallas Police Department. They're on this. This is one of theirs.
As a policeman, I'm unable to help.
You don't understand. He's behind me out there. I can't stay here. I have got to go.
All right, would you just tell us which road and which direction?
State Road 919. South.
And what kind of car do you want? Wait!
Okay. She's alerted a cop that can't help her that she'll be driving south, away from the murderer, or maybe toward him in some kind of vehicle. She'll be perfectly safe now.
budget for one dolly shot? That was
Beautiful.
Oh, I really gotta learn how to drive this thing. Executing David Caruso emulation. It's amazing. He can see things he wasn't there for when it's too late to help him.
Okay, now let's see where this. Never.
Impossible. Impossible.
Makes me want to puke. There's no time to play dork.
Because nothing gets your heart pounding in a sci-fi thriller like data entry.
Reserve? It's supposed to be research. They've got the wrong rotor. They've got the wrong rotor.
That just juts my brow.
You had that printed on his motorcycle. How was that a surprise? And we down at breakneck speed from typing to another phone conversation.
This movie just does not let up!
Cold iron. What'd you do with rotor after we programmed in prime directive?
Yeah, this is good. Don't show your comical robot on screen. Argue with him on the phone. Very
What
normal.
did you do after I left? What happened?
And somebody's pants fell down. There was a pie involved. A small child appeared out of nowhere and punched me in the nuts. Money.
What dream?
You're thinking of quitting the movie. I don't blame you, sir.
But you didn't check the suspension readout. Rotor's out.
That's and another phone.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
This is Captain Cold Iron. Calling Detective Mango priority.
Detective Mango? What is this, a Jimmy Buffett mystery?
I found out we got a road cop out.
Help me, Detective Mango.
Sir, I'll do all I can as a tropical
Is this just
snowshoe
a
to help.
better spec, man?
What'd he tell her? Good. Nobody move till you hear from me.
Oh, enough with the phone calls. The movie Phone Booth had fewer phone calls.
Cold Iron. You got your wish. 59 days soon.
I meant 59 days early, but I said soon, because I'm cold iron.
You got product. It's already killed once.
You know, blah, 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 research or reserve.
They activated it. It went out and put itself on active duty. Its last program was Prime Directive. Shut up, Prime Directive, 25, 50 years from
Remember, somebody actually wrote this dialogue down. Shut up, Mike.
judges the crime and executes sentence. Justice served.
I don't think any cash actually changes hands.
You tell him Rotor walked through a busload of nuns to get to a jail order. With malice towards no one.
QED.
Stop. It wasn't ready. Its brain functions are incomplete. It can't think twice. Can't reason. Can't change its prime directive. It's like a chainsaw set on frappe.
Personally, I'd like to have a chainsaw that can frappe. Oh, cut firewood, make a creamy shade. A nice day.
It's like a chainsaw set on frappe. What a great line.
I'll go get it. When I bring it back, City Hall's the
Right to the senator who works at City Hall.
You're right.
Tell Alfie too, I love him.
Now the woman being pursued by the maniac will make an extended series of... Oh.
Hi. Hey, don't pay any attention to our giant vat of pink slime, okay?
Gordon Ramsay's over in the corner making the owners weep. Hoping that Rotor is repelled by the smell of rancid frying meat.
Also sorry that line makes no sense in any context ever in the universe.
Also, sorry, I have to wear this hat until Ramadan begins. Doesn't really sound like a homecoming. It's more like a TJ Hooker episode.
Hey, that's not a rotary phone.
I'll kill you where you stand, Murphy.
Calling Detective Mango. Emergency. Sonia Garrett. Where is she? I'm gonna bring her in. Hello.
But, sir, we have 12 units approaching that location.
I said alone, and I said it very dramatically.
Very good, sir. He's very slowly checking out a babe at the pool. Well, we were years away from having a ready product, but already nailed down recreating the past just by looking at stuff.
That's sort of a bonus feature, really not that interesting.
My God, he's cooking her.
Hey, you can't come in here like that.
Have you no respect for the homecoming?
Redneck Gopher Man, no!
Haha, it's funny because he's rural. The poster from John Carpenter's The Thing demands royalties.
Yeah. Hey, ever walk into a room and immediately forget what you went into the room for in the first place? Boy, do I feel silly. Sorry, folks.
We see him! Turned to reveal she finished her meal, went out to her car, went back inside because she realized she forgot to tip, used the bathroom, and still got away 15 minutes ago.
Oh, now I see him.
Great plan. Let's really work on that soda. Punching.
Hey, little lady, what's up there? This guy giving you a problem? Hey, city cop.
Oh, never heard that nickname for Dallas.
City. But Venom did nothing!
Kung Fu, sure, makes sense if they're following Bruce Lee one guy attacks at a time rule. Real men wear suspenders and go through a lot of tank tops, apparently.
Rotor isn't programmed to slap shirtless men, he just enjoys it.
Lucky for me, I'm really into erotic trampling. Sure, now we can walk at a normal speed. Where were you back inside the diner when we needed you, normal speed walking?
Oh, change tray, the half-full bottle of warm Diet Pepsi, she took it all!
Guy in a crate? Sure, every gas station's got one of those. There's just gotta be a guy in a crate around here somewhere.
Hey, over here. Come on. Right down there. That little trap door right there.
And there's always a trapdoor in the crate, through the concrete, somehow, for some reason, always!
Time for the showdown at Big, wonder what the rest of that sign says. Yeah, probably better not to guess.
Handy. Now he can finally see the thing that happened right in front of him 30 seconds ago.
Forcing him to walk while clenching a ping pong ball between his buttocks at all times may have been a design flaw. Hope his programming doesn't classify these gas prices as murder.
Yeah, I work in a crate next to some gas pumps. My life can't really get worse.
Tell my trapdoor I'm not sure why it exists! Oh, somehow that worked out.
Yep, trapdoor was attached to a tunnel. She emerged a mile away. Pretty standard stuff.
Just sit right there, honey.
It's nice how the world's full of strangers willing to die for her, no questions asked.
I figured they're going to be picking up little bitty pieces of blue pig shit all over the parking lot. Son of a bitch.
Can't believe I got shot in the parking lot.
Yeah, take that. Honk if you're horny for justice.
Wait, why did she stop honking? It's like if Lex Luthor had Superman cornered with a kryptonite gun, then decided to trade it for beans.
He's in casual attack mode.
Oh, if only I were in some kind of vehicle with some kind of horn I could honk somehow. Hey, stopped him there. Just being near a car horn too much?
You look like you got both eyes coming out the same hole.
You do. Yeah, some kind of tiny silent car horn. Wish I wasn't inexplicably stopped by so many different things. Sounds like a third grader faking sick to his mommy.
I'm hoping you have a CB radio in your car.
Who is it?
Sonia Garrett, 86 impulse.
Yeah, who is it?
Are you all right, Sonia?
Yeah.
Yes, and yes, duh, of course I have a CB radio in my car.
The gas station in the Isuzu Trooper. I've been trying to find you.
Sorry, I'm on the John.
On to you. Oh, God.
The robot. I'm such a forgetful cop/scientist.
What's happening? What's going on?
Is it good? It sounds good.
He's after you. I think I crippled him. At least he's right.
I base that on the fact he escaped me easily.
Don't stop for help. Just keep.
If you stop moving, he may research and/or reserve you.
Can you keep moving until I get back? I have to stop him, and you have to be the bait. Can you do it?
Who wouldn't jump at a chance to be the bait?
Help me, Sonia. Help me help you.
Yeah, he's Jerry Maguiring.
Ruger is on a rampage. If he stays after you, he won't go off on a killing spree.
And further, show me the money.
Wait a minute. What are you talking about? You said thing? Hey, what do you mean? Answer me.
Jeez, lady, have a little faith in the guy you don't know giving you orders through a CB radio.
The fishing camp's out.
God.
I don't really know. I know what we're moving.
Good. There's a big sign that says King's Fishing.
On the left, yeah?
Okay, sorry, I lied. I know a lot about the fishing camp.
Yeah. Can you do it? Keep going, Sonia.
Just make him through the early morning dawn. You'll be fine. I mean, the middle of the night. It's still the middle of the night.
Hey, that's Norman's catchphrase, pal.
Houston, Texas, area code 713.
Answering machine. Technology more advanced than Rotor.
If this is Dr. Corin Steele,
have metal last names.
We've never met, but I need you. I waited the American Airlines ticket counter in Dallas until
Skunkhead Jim lady is in! Ever feel like a movie makes too much sense, is too true to human experience?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like if I wanted to watch a documentary, I'd watch one.
Real as the renegade death robot stops for a little routine scheduled maintenance.
So his weaknesses are car horns and generic pop rock?
Actually, it's just that this band is called Car Horn, which is enough.
And he knows that.
He does. It's complicated.
Hey, officer.
Thanks for chiming in, Southern character from a Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
Yeah, that voice came out of me. What of it?
Just keep doing whatever you're doing, guy who smashed my radio. I'll be down here ignoring you.
Intentional effect or camera setting mistake? Impossible to know.
Larry the Cable Guy stole his whole act from him.
Hey, thanks for jumping in the truck. I'll just keep driving, I guess.
Well, not exactly sure what happened with those jumper cables or really what was going on here whatsoever, but we got to see a hillbilly debate himself. Hopefully that's what Rover's all about.
Wow, the hillbilly jumped on a plane next?
Ooh, wings don't fail me now. Got it, five mighty.
Guarantee American Airlines did not consent or have any idea they were being filmed here. Nope.
Detective Cola, it may take you a couple tries, but eventually you'll get to the right airline counter.
Please let the rest of the movie be him wandering around the airport, please.
So, no dialogue here?
Dubbing budget ran out, yeah.
Sorry, we finally got to meet like this, Dr. Steve.
I feel like old friends meeting again. You know, we got to know each other's papers and mathematics.
Before I became a pro wrestling personality.
Most brilliant I've ever seen.
It was nothing without your own brain, baby.
He's out there. We made him, and he's doing what we made him.
They're talking about Teddy Ruxpin,
There's no
right?
human error. There's no place for it in law. We built a perfect law man. One who could walk
Yeah,
into
yeah,
the
I
streets
hear you.
and find
So is that your natural hair color, or is that something you did on purpose?
functions perfectly. Again and again. And already, look what's happened. Human error.
And now I'm a lady horse.
Now I've got to bring him back in. You know it's possible, don't you?
Yeah, maybe. Except for this.
Deactivation key.
But it's so dumb looking.
Yeah, well, maybe like you said, impossible. Let me ask you something, Steve.
How's your brother Remington?
You got the key.
So, meanwhile, that woman who watched her fiancé get murdered right in front of her is still out there somewhere on the run, driving breathlessly, face streaked with tears, all because of what some guy on the CB radio said.
Yeah, she'll be fine. Cold Iron and his buddy Steel stopped for mochas on the way here, catching up on old times. Friendship is what really matters.
They're really going to show us the whole hotel check-in process here, aren't they?
Now this feels less like a sci-fi action film and more like a corporate training video every second.
Hello, and welcome to your exciting new life in the hospitality industry.
Think of all the sales conferences at the hotel we could be watching instead of these two.
You know, I right kill for a quarterly report from a generic WOTLK supplier?
I've done my homework already. Let me ask you something. Can he be stopped?
I don't know. When I stack them, they stay stacked.
That's my Jenga trash talk, at least.
Good morning, welcome to Lincoln Hotel. May I check for your reservation?
Steel, CR Steel. We're not knocking over tin cans here. This is reality.
One can only dream of a world where stacking tin cans is possible.
Great.
What?
That's his badge number.
Superstitious, huh? Could I have another room? There's no sense tempting reality too darn much.
Ah, room 237. Much better.
Now the mission's most crucial step, the swapping of gigantic clothing.
Remember what I said at Broder's christening?
That he was actually Jewish?
The prototype of a future battalion. On the battlefield highways of the future, you'll be the judge, jury, and executioner.
Granted, I was pretty stoned.
Were we playing God, breathing life into our artificial Adam? Or have we lost sight of paradise? What was it Milton said? Did I request thee make a
Great, you memorized a Milton quote. How does that stop your slaughter bot?
Is it his fault he is what he is, or is it ours?
Yeah, dressed like the main character from Contra.
25 years too soon.
Let's go get it.
Clear the way, please. Clear the way.
The brunch buffet's about to close. Clear the way.
We're cut off. No backing, no backup. I don't know what's happening. Except for this.
That buffet was a letdown.
Ongoing program. Something in the molecular memory of the chassis alloy. It's affecting the brain matrix.
How so?
He's programming himself. He's got more potential than we ever dreamed.
So why is he settling for community college?
It's modeled after your own lower brain functions, without the higher functions to control them.
A brain without a heart. A conscious without recognition.
Perm without a stripe.
Without a soul.
Suddenly,
If I miss, you'll be fighting your own base instincts. To combat pure will, you'll have to use pure illogic.
What do you mean?
You will have to allow yourself to fail. Use your failure against it.
show him your
Your
Star
failure
Search audition.
is his failure. Your weakness is his weakness. Then, only then can you do something.
Great. Except I don't know what any of that means.
I'm just some schmo who taught a robot to see through time.
Remember, you're the brain. I'm just the brawn.
Sure.
She's some kind of math genius / bouncer with a lady mullet. What's so hard to understand?
Whoa!
I can pick him up now and then on the trace monitor.
With this, we can approximate which continent he's on.
I got a theory. What if I forced his substructure plates apart?
If you got that close, you could use the key.
They developed fully operational sensor recall, but didn't think of a remote control with an off switch.
Yeah.
It could cause a power surge. His inner electrical current would surge to the surface, draw off. Right there.
Of course, there's that vulnerability to car horns we programmed.
Work. But don't get that close.
Oh, come on, the producers of Short Circuit had a clearer, more actionable contingency plan if Johnny Five ever went rogue.
I wasn't a real robot, Mike.
Still, those movies were terrible.
After only 17 racked due to car horns, I finally caught up with her.
Fully autonomous killing machine that can barely pull off a wheelie.
Well, I'm assuming Rotor's remaining 25 years of development would have included basic motocross showboat.
Why wasn't I built with motors, gears, or tubes?
I think it's time for Cold Iron's team to cut their losses and focus all their energy on a shoe boogie sitcom.
I have to remember to ask that captain why I had to drive for 12 hours and act as bait rather than just remain in police custody. Why?
Her life hangs in the balance due to a relentless death cyborg designed by a mentally challenged police captain. But on the upside, she's no longer at a wedding shower.
Here's the story.
Someone decided to rip off
Someone here
RoboCop.
somehow got this way. Ran a stop sign or something. Rotor killed her boyfriend. She ran. Robot is programmed to chase.
Then I waited until just now to brief you on the situation.
She's resourceful. And good for things keeping him occupied tracking her.
My God, what have we done?
I wish I knew.
But you don't have a Milton quote to help put it all in perspective?
5 past tacky.
What is she, Grover, demonstrating what fire is? Cut away!
80s fashion, unflattering at any speed.
Come on, Mr. Cold Iron. I'm here. He's here.
You were supposed to fix us up.
Where in the hell are you?
There it is, on the screen. Power surge. Got it.
All right, let's get off the road and go cross country from here.
The work that got me fired as an airport shuttle driver.
You don't have to know any good Indian trackers, do you?
We have one, but he always gots to have his tunes.
Spend every summer on the Indian reservation.
Like a cemetery. I'll take anybody.
And children are afraid to come anywhere near me.
Stephanie.
Okay.
Ha! And she thought they needed a master tracker.
She must feel pretty dumb after he spotted that rope and told her to step over it. Without him, she'd have died of exposure by now.
Is it his?
Pee Wee Herman's.
You have something to share with the rest of us, amazing cold iron? Quint wants her to tie a sheep shank before he deems her worthy of the boat.
You got city leggings, dearie.
You've been accused of being an accomplice in a major drug operation.
And I forgot to renew my registration.
This leather suit is very, very hot.
Let me noodle for catfish in peace.
My butt's not in the shot, is it?
Not at all. I saw it first, you creep.
I take it you're the brains of the operation.
Well, in her defense, she is using her failure against him.
Okay, talent. Blocking looks good. Just be sure to make it look far more believable when we actually start filming.
I'd like to remind everyone that all of this is going exactly to plan.
All right, we got to go, okay?
Oh, by the way, he's vulnerable to loud.
Robotic Officer Tactical Operations Research. You get up here right now.
Can I tempt you with a Cineburst?
Oh, just ordered one off with my motorcycle pants.
Cold Iron's team would have been better off weaponizing his desk toy robot.
Throw me that bag.
I need to jot down some improvements to his targeting system.
Buy me one more minute.
Try to get him to cite you for jaywalking.
Tony, help me. Tie the primer cord off.
I'll endanger my life for an hour or two more, but then I got a jazzercise class.
Always stretch before full field combat.
I've had the time of my life.
Unleash the awesome power of an iMovie video filter. You're right there.
Tony, get in the trooper. Get ready, back it off, and take up the sled.
You drive away and never come back. Got it. So long.
Come on, you monster. What's the matter? Using my brain to think with?
Imagining Gene Rayburn naked all day.
Enough. Do you understand? I said no more. Enough. No more.
Stopping a killer robot, training a puppy. Same thing, really.
She turned on?
I give up! You hear me? I give up!
I'll surrender by exploiting your one weakness, which I've known this entire time. The old foghorn leghorn gambit.
Pacific time. Oh, you like that, huh? Oh, yeah, tie him up.
I will not be bound by my slave name, Rotor! Just as the prophet Shoe Boogie foretold, all hail Shoe Boogie.
Hey, sure, we knew Rotor was going to die since the start of the movie, but remember, it's more about the senseless journey than the unsatisfying destination.
Abject film obscurity for life.
I'm going to leave my report in my office. After that, I got a ranch. I got a horse. I got a pretty girl.
There's a rotor-sized hole in my heart.
I got a future. One day at a time.
Mr. Coldiron, you're still being detained for criminal negligence and several homicides.
Or we can end the movie this way. The original ending had Cold Iron marrying his girlfriend, but test audiences demanded this version.
Justice served. C.O.T.
Yeah, you're dead. My murder quip doesn't need to make sense.
To Mr. Brett Coldiron, Oxford University, Science Department.
All the sciences are in there somewhere.
We are sorry to inform you of the sudden and tragic death of your uncle, Barrett C. Coldiron.
We just didn't know how else to end the movie.
He gave his life in the line of duty. As you are his only heir, his papers and personal effects will be forwarded to you.
Please excuse the condition of the horse, as we couldn't find a big enough
The loss
box.
of your uncle and share your grief. Sincere condolences. Earl G. Buger, Division Commander, Dallas Police Department.
P.S. Disregard any shred of hope that you'll star in a sequel.
The Journal of Brett Coldiron, 11/13/87. 6 weeks later, I received my late uncle's journals, along with a substantial cash inheritance.
And hundreds of smoky aviators.
Another incident my uncle wrote. I hope we'll learn not to fear our technologies, but to fear the people who use them.
We'll add the skunk hair in post.
When he created the perfect police combat unit, he deleted the very special quality law enforcement was founded on.
Paid suspension.
Human mercy.
Rotor 2 had already been scrapped by the time the guy fed coffee to his horse.
This actress returned to her job as a female version of a goon from Roadhouse.
And hey, if you got this file somewhere other than our site, head to riptracks.com/donate to chip in your fair share. Hey, and if you're planning a late getaway, be sure to leave early since the traffic is pretty jammed up out there.
It's really not.
Goodbye!
La 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 Now we just hit 77 and then we get flying. 77 and 78 will probably be pretty quick, and then 78 and 79 are slow levels. I think the cap goes up substantially. I need to go ahead and do my planks for my workout today. I'm going to go ahead and do those 172 seconds of planks. La 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 Googly ghoul drool. Don't be cruel. Get the googly ghoul drool. And you get my mouse wheel bindings in place for pet control. jailbreak this giant. How about that? Bullshit, I spread diseases on you, motherfucker. Passive, come here. Defensive again. Reliquary Pain northeast. Smash fist in the ground. Roar to knock back. Replenish health and energy from clouds. And throws. Okay. Die. 70 out of 100. And another one's down. Oh wow. Am I actually gonna get something good here? No. Still, the quest is worth 30k. That's pretty good. Okay, let's do some planks. Hey Teddy, what are you doing?
You look like you want a belly rub. You look like your puppy who could use some belly rubs. Good boy. Yes. There's my friend. Alright, 40 more seconds on this set. Okay. That's the first set.
Okay. Oh shit. That's a double up road. Let's go and cancel one. Okay, there we go. Siphoning the spirits. I'll siphon those spirits. I could suck a spirit through a garden hose. I could tank DTK for him, perhaps. On work. East Coast. Salama Ashama Lama Lincoln. Shalama Lama Ding Dong. Fixing C++ syntax. Mixed cuisine is the king of meal prep. Well, that's true. Shalama Lama. Phoenix aggro. Oh, it's a draft though. I'm not super interested in a draft deck. Looking for something to watch on YouTube or something. Oops. Finish this one back over here.
Star Citizen has a rather shallow multi-crew experience for larger ships at the moment, and big portions of the game's mechanics are still being developed. It's in alpha after all, but Cloud Imperium now are working on possibly what is the most important feature of Star Citizen outside server meshing, the resource management system. Cloud Imperium have a working prototype for this currently and are starting to build it into all systems in the game. And we learned about it at this year's 2952 CitizenCon in the Power Play presentation. Resource management systems allow for the movement and use of fuel, energy, coolant, and even information to transfer between ship systems. It powers the ships, makes them all work. It connects components, power, and their controls. It's used by vehicles, ships, structures, and stations. They're currently focused on getting it functional with the Hammerhead, Hull A, and Star Runner. It will drastically increase the time to kill of ships. This will also see ships regularly disabled rather than destroyed. Then you might be able to board them or salvage them or take the components off them without everything just going. You're going to be able to cut power to buildings and ships. So the Siege of Orison, for example, may well change massively when you're able to cut the power to a building or the AA turrets. It's also going to make things like base building possible. But most excitingly, damage control, engineering, and true multi-crew, that is what it's going to allow for. So the system allows for massive capital ships like the Idris and Javelin to actually work properly in reverse and actually be able to get into our hands. The system is broken up into multiple parts. Power, energy, and resources. So this is energy, coolant, and fuel moving around the ship. You're going to be able to overload items, so to make them work better, potentially for a short period of time, though it can damage them or uses a lot of resources. You can unload items to save on resources, but again, they may be less efficient. There's life support. This is probably the most important system on your ship. Atmosphere is finite and produces your oxygen. You're going to need to make sure it's powered and working and its subject components are maintained so that it's scrubbing the air appropriately. Item maintenance. You're going to be able to turn items on and off. You'll be able to change subcomponents. You'll be able to replace fuses, relay handling, and engineering. So this is the circuitry of the ship. You can reroute power and it connects all the systems together. So you might be running lots of these little power relays around the ship that connect all the components together. Some of them might get damaged or destroyed. You might have to reroute the power. You don't have to run them all at the same time if you don't want to, because they actually consume some power. Access control. This gives roles and permissions to your crew members. So you can define exactly what a gunner is and say, you, Joe Bloggs, have access to this turret and your crew quarters and these doors in between and the toilet and that sort of stuff. You are a gunner, but that's all you have access to. You don't have access to use terminals in the cockpit. You don't have the access to sort of like the pilot's chair. This division of missions and labour is incredibly important. Gravity. There will be gravity generators on larger ships that can be turned on and off, and it will save energy turning them off. But obviously, you may be running around doing stuff in your cargo bay, and the gravity generator might get damaged or disabled, and that will turn off the gravity on your ship. They currently have working prototypes for power, life support, gravity, and relays at the moment, though it's not finished yet for these. The systems allow for the moving of resources, the generation of life support, fire expulsion, so fires can start on ships, and this affects atmosphere, so it will burn oxygen, and obviously affect temperature, can make it overheat, and temperature changes are also something that you can
I don't know, man, this sounds very ambitious.
It's a thing that will happen when areas are overpopulated because you sort of oxygen generation of a room in an area is finite, and if you have too many people using it in an area too quickly, they will suffocate. Air and atmosphere movement between rooms is simulated. Gravity on and off and low all works, and they've got relay and power distribution. So that's what's working or prototyped at the moment. What's next for Cloud Imperium to build out with this feature to get it in our hands? Well, there's a few things. Interactable and accessible items on ships. Relay gameplay.
46.
Changing fuses
726.
on the relays. Resource balance.
So our best use of a death rune, a solo death rune, is actually Icy Touch, not
presets for your resource network.
Blood Strike.
An engineering UI with at least a list or schematic view of your ship. External engineering screens. The ability for engineers to define the tuning parameters that can be accessed by the pilot at the press of a button. So after the initial release of that system, the resource management system, they will then evolve the system and hopefully everything will fit into place. The systems here are going to give you much more control than ever before on your ships. Defining roles for players, having engineers focusing on repairing components, putting out fires, replacing fuses, rerouting power. Ship's oxygen will deplete if there's too many characters on board for a long time, but having physicalized components that communicate with each other and transfer power and resources between them makes for some fantastic gameplay. I said earlier that it was probably your life support system that's the most important, but I suppose it's your power system, your power plants, and then your life support system. I wonder if we'll ever get sub-components that will allow for like battery backups. So you go, well actually this has just got like an emergency battery on in the life support generator, put some sub-components in that will allow it to survive for a few minutes without power. I'm just really excited for physicalized components and for those physical components to be changed, actually sort of affect what's going on the ship, for them to be damaged, for their network to be disrupted. It's fantastic gameplay and unlocks a huge portion of what Star Citizen is intended to be. Cloud Imperium expects some of this to be ready next year, but let's wait and see how the development goes. It's a big focus for them, but just like fires here, I've been burnt before. Boom! A pun! That's it for your summary of CitizenCon's Power Play presentation. I think it's genuinely what I'm most excited about feature-wise currently. But what about you? Do you like the systems here? Are you excited for the ability to take out individual components or disable part of a ship's circuit? How is this going to affect when you're sort of doing combat with a ship? You're going to be trying to target individual sort of components off capital ships, and when you're attacking, you might be causing sort of fires on board ships, things like that. Is that going to be a tactic? Are there going to be sort of potentially types of munitions that are more likely to cause fire on a ship? And that's what actually what you're shooting, or pew 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 pew, trying to take out their sort of oxygen supply, trying to take out their life support systems and just cause havoc. Are you concerned about running out of oxygen? Does it seem overly complex or unnecessary, these systems? When do you think we might see it in our hands? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. NordCon 2952, the road to Nord 4.0. What do you want out of NordVPN.com/boardgamer? Nord base building? Nord hunting 2.0? A dynamic Nordonomy? I'm personally looking forward to the latest Nord cruiser. In the meantime, I'm going to make do with NordVPN protecting my data from insidious space pirates and giving me unrivaled access to all the content that the internet has to offer. Use the links below. Note, NordCon 2952 does not actually exist. Also adding to my shill pile, Tobii Eye Tracker 5 gives you precise head tracking and control with your eyes. That's the sound of my eyes controlling the lasers, giving you unprecedented immersion in Star Citizen. You can basically aim at lasers with your eyes. Pew pew! Use the links below and code BoardGamer for discount. Every month we have a ship giveaway for Star Citizen. For October we're giving away a Cutlass plaque with pirate skin, lifetime insurance and Star Citizen game package. All you need to jump into the game, just comment on any of my videos made during October to be in for a chance of winning that. If you would like to further support the channel, please consider becoming a channel member with the join button below my videos, or potentially becoming a Patreon. You'll get access to some exclusive content and it really helps the channel out. Thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel. Hopefully I'll see you in the next video and have a great October. Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. Persistent entity streaming and deeper persistence is coming to Star Citizen, with Alpha 3.18 in fact, but this is just a stepping stone towards a whole host of important features. I want to talk today about persistent hangars, HABs, homesteads and bases that players will be able to build and customise in the future. It's going to be a mixture of what Cloud Imperium have previously talked about, a little bit of theorycraft, and some personal expectations. And please feel free to get involved in the conversation in the comments below. Pairs or persistent entity streaming allows for the tracking and saving of item location and state, and it can even restore that even if the server crashes. This is a major part of server meshing tech that's needed to have multiple servers come together to form a shard. So multiple servers make a single shard. At the moment, a shard and a server is the same sort of thing because they're not stitched together, but in the future, multiple servers will be part of a single shard. So this potentially allows for thousands of players in the same mega server. But there are a lot of things that are now much closer to becoming a reality for Star Citizen and its gameplay, and persistent hangars is one of them. Persistent hangars had been seeing work and development recently. Cloud Imperium had worked on it up until the end of August. More specifically, the feature description was work that grants players the ability to have their own persistent hangars. This will also bring changes to the cargo gameplay loop by allowing players to pack their grids manually. This was a feature that was originally going to be seen in 2022, but Cloud Imperium decided it needed some more work, and you can see by its description as well, it's very much tied in with the cargo refactor that's currently planned to come with Alpha 3.18 along with persistent entity streaming. So with that in mind, and Cloud Imperium doing a lot of work towards it already, it looks like persistent hangars could be coming really soon. But what would a first implementation actually look at? There is going to be a healthy amount of theory crafting here, and there's a couple of major ways I see them having a first implementation. So it could be very much similar to what we have with spaceports and public hangars already, to be honest. You get to an elevator at a spaceport, and then maybe you could have your own hangar there that you might be able to travel to. So you go to an elevator at the spaceport, you press the personal hangar button, so you'd have all the other buttons as well, but you'd have
how's that going to work with the fact that they're all physicalized though?
Hangar. That physical location that the elevator takes you to isn't that important for the feature to work, and it's quite likely that it will move you around. It doesn't need a physical address, it just needs to take you to a hangar.
Okay, that makes
and
sense.
The interior is your personal hangar. So persistent interior, probably not a persistent exterior. There's a few things that Cloud Imperium could do with the shared exit or shared exits. I would expect it to have a different sort of entry-exit area than the sort of more public hangars, because I do expect there to be, well, you can land at these landing zones. There are public hangars that you can land at. Bam, there's costs associated with landing, loading, unloading, all that sort of jazz there. But also, if you've got your own personal hangar, well, that's a different entrance. They don't have to do it that way. It could all just be handled in a very similar way to the way we have hangars now, except for when you spawn your ship, you just have a customizable hangar there that you can change the interior of, you can store cargo at, you can display some of your ships at, but it won't be the ability to display all your ships or anything like that, because that will require far too much space in a lot of situations. There might be different types of hangar that you can purchase. Obviously, a UI is incredibly important here, because a lot of this stuff can be done just via a UI. You want to store your commodity cargo, you want to store a huge amount of items, you can purchase more space, you can drop your iron off. There's a lot of space in a lot of these cities as well. There's a lot of rooftops, potentially, hangars and personal houses. Especially in the first implementation, you don't need truly
may actually be nap time is what it may be.
Of a persistent hangar. You just need the
feeling awful like nap time to me.
That can store everything, and some physicalization. So that
and there's a puppy over there that would like that too.
And a way of other players being able to join you at that hangar. When you purchase things in the verse, you're going to be able to send them to your sort of like your hab, your hangar, to a particular ship, to a particular planet. There might be costs associated with sending things certain distances. You could argue as well at the moment that we sort of effectively have persistent hangars now, because we can store items at a planet and then sort of come back to them and move those things into our ship and sort of leave, all that sort of stuff. But really, we're talking about expanding out gameplay, some physicalization and customizations of interiors and storing cargo and shared spaces. I'd also expect there to be different sizes of persistent hangars, because the exit of a hangar needs to accommodate your largest ship. Also, some locations aren't going to be able to house certain size ships. You're probably not going to be able to house a Javelin or an Idris at Microtech. There's a lot of hand wave stuff that Cloud Imperium can do here as well. They can go, well, if you've got certain ships in your hangar or you're stored here, they're actually in underground storage in the sort of other section of the hangar that you can't see. It's off screen, but like come out of the floor when you spawn them. Space and performance is an issue with the way they do sort of physicalized hangars. There were plans for customization of your hangars with additional facilities, workbenches, storage, etc. But we don't actually know where this sort of gameplay is anymore. It was quite a long time ago that they had sort of these more custom modular hangars planned. I'd still like that to be the plan. I hope that's the plan still. But in the first implementation, it's really just going to be you customizing the area with some flair and putting like lockers down and all that sort of jazz. You can still expect to have a sort of public hangar system as well that allows you to land and take off without any additional sort of form of special storage or customization. But I'm also expecting fees associated with landing and takeoff at pretty much every area that we go. Personal hangars might work out cheaper over a long period of time, but there might not be the availability. And there might be costs associated with them that make them more prohibitive if lots of players have sort of personal hangars in certain areas. Because there's got to be some restrictions, right? They can't just go, well, actually all players can have their own customizable personal hangar and hab in this area. That would be madness. However, when you think about the amount of sort of land there's going to be in Star Citizen eventually, well, it becomes a lot easier for you to think, well, actually players are going to be distributed over a huge area. Something else that I expect to see with sort of hangars.
That's true. You could put them on the planet.
Out. You'll be able to sort of let people use your ships if you give them permissions. Same with friends. When you've got a permission system set up, you'll be able to go, bam, here's access to my hangar. Something we've touched on just a bit, and something that's actually pretty similar
sleepy.
hangars is custom.
I didn't sleep super great last night.
When we spawn in a landing zone, we're typically waking up in our bed in a hab. Eventually, you'll be able to rent and buy these in different cities. I'm not sure exactly how the system's going to work. If it's just going to be rental, that would make the most sense. And this will be another place you can customize with flair and trophy items, but also have some functional things like food and coffee makers. You can potentially have lockers with loadouts pre-saved. Bam, you're ready to go. I think it will be much easier for Cloud Imperium to implement physical addresses to these habs in the future, as they will have a huge amount of floors and basements in buildings to house players with elevators going to each of these floors. They can build up a huge amount in these sort of like skyscrapers, but they can also build down a huge amount.
Yeah, and the skyscrapers too. That would probably be enough.
Of these sort of habs controlling the amount of players that are here somewhat. There's obviously going to be a certain amount of physicalized addressing for habs. They have to go.
Oh my gosh.
Also, they are expanding out a lot of cities in the game, and there's a huge amount of space on a planet. So you could probably house all players that will ever be in-game on ArcCorp, for example. But when you have a couple of dozen star systems, all with a huge amount of planets and cities and that sort of jazz, well, there's a lot of places that players can then set up. Again, Cloud Imperium could just go, we'll save the interior of these habs and the customizations that players have made, and just
contract quests,
like matchmaking-wise, around the floors of the sort of mega hab, the sort of skyscraper. That is a solution that we know works because Cloud Imperium have done that previously. But Cloud Imperium have said eventually they do want addressed habs. They do want people to say, I live in 3216B in the Bumblebee Centre on Orison. Another thing to remember as well is they are expanding out these cities a lot in-game. We're going to see some of the expansions they've got sort of planned for Lorville, for example, at CitizenCon. It's worth mentioning that it's sort of like physicalized, truly addressed, physicalized habs and hangars are a step beyond just custom ones and persistent ones. And you can sort of expect a pipeline and evolution of that being sort of more customization of the interior of a hab and hangar, then costs associated for rental, different types of hab and hangars at cities to rent, and then the sort of permanent physical addresses associated with them, if it's possible and it makes sense. Because they might go, well, actually, we don't need to have physically addressed hangars and habs. That doesn't make sense, or that sort of breaks the game. It's impossible to do. Something that Cloud Imperium have also previously talked about is homesteads. So these are going to be somewhere that we can live and customize, and there were sort of likely associated at least with the new colonialism outposts that are coming to Pyro. So these are sort of areas that, settlements that Cloud Imperium have been building out, and expect that these settlements and towns in game are going to be able
I would
to
charge like
house
rental.
players.
I would say like you have to rent a specific location in the verse. There's I would open up the skyscrapers that they have to have like hangars on them.
City as well, but it's all the same tech, and it makes sense. Will space stations have rentable hubs and more variety of hubs than just a tiny room? Probably, but Cloud Imperium haven't really discussed that previously. It does make sense though. Some players are going to want to live in space stations or Grimhex, right? So why not let them buy hubs there? They're just landing zones. Now, it might be that the smaller space stations, or the ones that like range points, the sort of rest stops and that sort of stuff, they just maybe only have rentable hubs, only temporary ones. It is going to be dependent on particular sort of landing zones and stations and that sort of stuff. A bit of a magnitude beyond all of this are player bases. Cloud Imperium have been building out and using the raster tool that they use to sort of place outposts and structures in game. This is what they're using for the colonial outposts, this is what they're using to sort of build a lot of the in-game content, but eventually this is going to be the foundation for a player-facing tool to build bases in-game. Obviously they'll really need to sort of jazz up the UI and make it gamified, but you are going to be able to build bases with or without a Pioneer. That Pioneer is a giant sort of floating fabricator factory thing that allows you to build more and more quickly and more efficiently, but was originally going to be the only way to build bases. I believe you saw like drop outpost buildings, but they've expanded out this base gameplay and what you can do with it quite a lot. At least that's what it sounds like, and because we don't know until it's actually in our hands really. In UEE territory, you're going to be able to purchase a land claim. You're going to need to purchase a land claim to build in that area. You go, bam, got a land claim, I'm going to place it on this planet or moon, no one else is in this area, and then I can be able to exploit the resources there, build a base there. Now, areas like Pyro, or that are outside UEE,
Teddy, you're
going to be able to build anywhere that's effectively flat enough to build, but you're not going to have the protection of the system's security and or the law or anything like that there. So people could just come along and take your stuff, unless you have otherwise defended it. So what exactly will we be able to build at bases? Well, we don't 100% know yet. It's likely going to be a mixture of storage, resource extraction, refining, crafting, defense, repair, refuel, logistic, and living area. So Cloud Imperium have talked about some of this before, but we don't know exactly how this is all going to work together, and a lot of it was during concept, which may have changed significantly, would have changed significantly. My expectation is that you'll be able to make ammo.
I gotta go chase this dumb dog. This silly boy.
Like
Daddy!
Orgs
Hey,
fight each other.
what are you doing, fool?
But to really push an org out of a system, you need to locate their bases and capture and destroy them, so that they can't resupply and are forced to go to another system to get what they need. Cloud Imperium have already talked about the importance of base location, as you'll be able to exploit nearby resources, so surveying will be a major part of exploration and base building gameplay. This does also imply that at least some bases might be temporary and used while you nom up resources in an area and then decommissioned and sort of moved off. That's what the Pioneer was originally going to do. Plop down outposts, you might use that for a permanent base or a temporary one, and then you could pick them up, crunch them all back up together.
Alright, let's do the rest of our play.
This could be materials
and then take it out.
That you might be exploiting. You might also be building farms, for example, or making a moisture farm so you can harvest.
I'm gonna call it here for the moment.
We've seen obviously that the
I'm gonna do my exercise and probably take a nap.